Sylvia's mouth closed and opened again, as if he were a fish. He tried to speak, but no sound came out of his throat. He tried to move, but his feet seemed stuck to the ground. Sylvia, the man said again, and hurried toward him. When the man was only a few steps away, Sylvia suddenly found his voice. "Uncle!" he cried out, and ran into the man's arms. Uncle Joel was the younger brother of Sylvia's father. Sylvia hadn't seen him in at least 2 years, because Uncle had been in the army. Uncle must know about the war and the fighting, maybe. He will know where my family is. But this hope were dashed as soon as Uncle spoke. "Are you alone? Where is your family?" he asked. Sylvia hardly knew where to begin his answer. It seemed like years since he had run away from his school and into the beach. But he told his uncle everything as best he could. As Sylvia spoke, Uncle nodded or shook his head. His face became very solemn when Sylvia told him that he had not seen nor heard a single word of his family in all that time. Sylvia's voice trailed off, and he lowered his head. He was glad to see Uncle again, but it looked as if he might not be much help either. Uncle was quiet for a moment, then he put Sylvia's shoulder in his. He said in a cheerful voice, "We are together now, so I will look after you." It turned out that Uncle had joined the group there early, but since there were more than 30 people traveling together, they had not found each other until now. As they began walking, Sylvia saw that Uncle had again a rifle that he carried on a strip over one shoulder. Already Sylvia could tell that because of his army experience and because he had a gun, Uncle was seen by the group as a kind of leader. "Yes, when I left the army, they let me keep my rifle," Uncle said, "so I am going to school as a final meal as soon as we come across anything worth eating." Uncle was true to his word. That very day he shot a young antelope, the kind called a top. Sylvia could hardly wait for it to be skinned and butchered and roasted. As the smoky meat arm filled the air, he had to keep swallowing the Sylvia that flowed his mouth. Uncle laughed as he watched Sylvia gobble down his first piece of the meat. "Sylvia, you have cheated. You are supposed to ask them when you eat." Sylvia could not reply. He was too busy stuffing another chunk of the delicious charred meat into his mouth. Even though the toupee was a small one, there was more than enough meat for everyone in the group. But it did not take long for Sylvia to regard his haste in eating after so many weeks of near starvation. His stomach replied mightily. He spent most of the night vomiting. Sylvia was not alone. Whenever his having stomach weak came, he would hurry to the edge of the camp to vomit and find others there doing the same. At one point, Sylvia found himself in a line of half a dozen people, all in an identical pose bent over holding their stomach and waiting for the next wave of Nessie. It might have been funny if he hadn't felt so miserable. The group continued to walk through the land of the Athens. Every day they saw lion, usually resting in the shade of small trees. One in the distance they saw a lion chasing a puppy. The puppy escaped, but along the path Sylvia saw the pound of prey that had not been so fortunate. Sylvia and Marilia still walk together, staying close to Uncle something. Uncle would walk with the other men and talk seriously about the journey. At that time, Sylvia and Marilia would drop back respectful, but Sylvia always tried to keep Uncle in sight, and he slept near Uncle at night. One day the group began walking in the late afternoon with the hope of reaching a water hole before sitting down for the night, but there was no water anywhere. Tough that search for meal. They kept walking into the night, and through the night for 10 hours they walked, and by dawn everyone was excited. Uncle and the other leaders finally decided that the group had to rest. Sylvia took 2 steps off the path and fell asleep almost before he lay down. He did not wake until he felt Uncle's hand shaking his shoulder as he opened his eyes. He heard wailing. Someone was crying. Sylvia blinked away the sleeping and looked at Uncle, whose face was very solemn. "I am sorry, Sylvia," Uncle said guilty. "You're fired." Marilia, Sylvia looked around. He should be somewhere nearly. I don't remember if he slept near me. I was so tired. Perhaps he has gone to find something to eat. Uncle stroked Sylvia's head as if he were a baby. "I am sorry," he said again. A cold fist seemed to grip Sylvia's head. The walking began again. Sylvia shook with terror inside and out. He clung the uncle like a baby or a little boy hanging on his hand or shortly when he called, never letting uncle get farther than arm's length away. He looked around constantly. Every moment in the grass was a lion, stalking every stillness, a lion waiting to spring. Maria was gone vanished into the night. He would never have wandered away from the group on his own. His disappearance could mean only on this lion. A lion had been hungry enough to approach that group as they slept. A few men had been keeping watch, but in the dark of night, with the wind rippling through the long grass, the lion could easily have crept close without being seen. It had soft out pretty that was small and motionless, Marilia sleeping and it had taken him away, leaving only a few splashes of blood near the path. If it hadn't been for Uncle